Welcome to another episode of Comedy Wham Presents with me, your host Valerie, coming to you from Moontower 2019. Miss Purrington, my co-host, is resting at home. ComedyWham.com is your place to go for features about all Austin comedy and those passing through. We bring you articles, podcasts, album reviews, and live shows featuring the best in Austin comedy in all its shapes and formats. Launched in 2016, the podcast project brings you funny people and their stories. As a fan, I like to delve into a comic's background and motivations and will usually take a detour along the way. Consider the interview a way for you to get to know the folks that make the Austin comedy scene one of the best in the country. And now, from Moontower 2019, we take you on location with our guest. After 3 years of experiencing the religious experience of the goddamn Comedy Jam, I finally get you to sit down for 30 minutes at 2019 Moontower. He's done all the festivals. My fandom kind of bumped up a level this year when he launched the 500 podcast, where he's going through all 500 albums of the Rolling Stone top albums of all time. I think the end date is 2027?
May 31st, 2028.
There we go.
If everything goes according to plan, that's the day. We'll do a big party for it.
Awesome. He is funny as hell if he's not doing anything comedy related, and thanks to him, I now cannot think of Journey in the same way anymore. You got to see Journey legs. And you can hear his inimitable, deep, gravelly voice as DJ Howlin' Hank on F is for Family, one of Bill Burr's projects on Netflix. And now Comedy Wham presents our guest, Josh Adam Meyers. I can't believe I have you here.
It's taken a while, but it's so worth it.
Yes. Full disclosure, I am a member of the Fleece Army.
I know, I saw that.
I totally support this project.
Thank you.
I know you love music. It comes through. I mean, it came through the very first time I saw the Jam live, but it really did like kick up a notch for me that when you started that project or that podcast, like I knew how important that was to you.
Yeah.
To do, another adventure in music.
It was you get these like God shots where the idea is more than just something that like, oh, this will be fun. It becomes, I have to do this. Because I was going to do it on my own. Mm-hmm. Like the podcast. I was doing it. I was going to do 500 albums over 500 days, and then on the third day, I was posting about it, and a comedian had reached out and told me how important this album, Stone Roses was, and so I messaged him back, and he was like, "Oh my God, it's so great!" He's like, "Just the stories I have about this," and then it was just that moment, like it clicked, and I was like, "That's the podcast," because I was doing another podcast that I never released it because I was just practicing what the show was and trying to develop it, but I wasn't really into it. I was doing it because everybody's like, you need a podcast. So I had that on the back burner, and we were stacking episodes, and then when I came up with the idea for the 500, I threw all of them out. I mean, we still have them. We're actually releasing them to the Patreon members. Yeah. Which is great because they are good, but there's something about the 500 where it's because it's just everything. It's you get to listen to this music, and I don't think there's a better feeling when you find a song or you find a whole album. If you're lucky enough to find a whole album that just speaks to you and gets inside your soul, and every single one of them, for the most part, there's something about that record that I've just latched onto and fell in love with. So I'm having such a good time. It's a lot of work, but it's well worth it.
Yeah, no, I saw the live version, the very first live version last night, and the number of pages you had, I was like trying to figure out how many pages of notes does he have. It was like really impressive. And you mentioned, during that episode that you spent pretty much
10 hours.
for...
I'd spend, and that's not listening, that's just sitting down, and I mean, it's a very tedious job. So I have two writers, one of them has another job, the other one is just like, he's just my boy, my friend Morty. He was a fan of the show, and he's been a fan of the Jam and all the other stuff that I've done, and he's a musician himself, and he kept getting mad when he'd listen to it. He could be like, dude, this is like, there's so much more you could get. And I was like, I'm only one person. And my friend David had another job, and he would, send me notes. But it was ultimately down to me sitting at my computer, going track by track, going to songmeanings.com, going to songfacts.com, going to Wikipedia, reading articles about the making of. And I was doing all of that. And then, but I mean, I loved it. I make it sound like it's tedious. It's just a lot, and you're trying to make comedy fans happy, which already will be fine because I'm a comic and I'm booking funny people, so it will naturally be funny. But you want to make it accessible for people that aren't comedy fans and are music fans. So you're trying to find that fact that no one knew that will make somebody listening go, oh. So you have to dig through that.
Yeah.
And then as the format has developed, and now I'm using that album as like a roadmap to interview people, so now I have to find the perfect question, and that fact or that lyric could be that question, because it's, how many times can you ask, well, that song's about cheating. Have you ever cheated on somebody? I can get that from any song easily, but I want to find a question that just it came out of left field, but it's there and it's in that record, and it's worth it, because when the podcast is great, it's fucking amazing, and I know it while I'm doing it. Like we did when I did Baron Vaughn, it was just such a, like, he was like, I can give you an hour and a half, and we sat for 3.5 hours, and that's how I knew I was doing something right. Michael Rappaport was the perfect example of that, because he was like, you have an hour, and we stayed for 2.5. And then I remember I said, we're about to hit an hour. He goes, keep going, man. He's like, you worked hard on this, and I'm like, yeah, because they get it immediately. If they think they're going to be talking about a record, it's about them. It's about so much more than just us listening to a record and critiquing it.
Yeah, because so far every guest you've had on has this personal connection to the album.
For the most part.
And so it's
Karen Kilgariff had never heard Gang of Four, but we have a personal connection, and that's one of my favorite. That's probably the funniest episode, in my opinion. I'm trying to think of who else. Oh, Gareth Reynolds he liked MGMT and didn't have like a strong connection, but he liked them. It's really hard to find somebody, that fan. It just falls into your lap, where it's like, Dana Gould I knew was an Elvis Costello fan, and that was easy. Jim Jeffries reached out to me. Bill liked the White Stripes, but he wasn't like a diehard fan. But what's cool is when they start listening to the record, you listen to a record more than once, you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna find that thing, and it could just be a song, and that gets into you, and then it's like, well, let me listen to some other stuff, and so it just bleeds through.
Right. Josh, I have a format, and we've spent however many minutes digging into the 500. My format, I always start off with an icebreaker question.
Sure.
One word to describe your past.
Oh man, well, I mean, I want to say troubled, but what's the word for learning? I mean, that's what it was. It was everything, because it wasn't troubled. I would look at it as there were like times I was making mistakes to figure out how to be where I am now.
Yeah.
I don't, like, my past is not much harder than a lot of people's. We've all dealt with a lot of stuff. I'm grateful for all the mistakes and all the bad decisions that I made, because now I'm not making them. and it's made me I think a very loving individual that, you know, that has compassion and is empathetic and just understands just that how tough this journey can be. So yeah, I don't know, whatever word that is for learning, because learning isn't really a one word to sum you up. It's I don't know, but you know what I'm saying. I got the idea.
Yeah.
You got the concept of what I wanted.
Yeah. This is the first time that somebody has described the word, but it's like not, we haven't found the word. So.
It's not, I mean, it's just, it's been very, this is a very, you know, this is a very, I don't want to say it's hard, but life is very, I made it hard by having to, you know, some people get it. They get it. They're like, this is what I want to do. This is how you treat people. This is how you do this. This is how you form relationships. This is how you work. And then other people I just lived by my own beat and would make mistakes that would hurt a lot of people and hurt myself. Mostly just hurt myself. But, you know, it took 36 years for me to learn how to just, you know, really love myself and love this whole thing. So this whole, like I said, this whole journey.
We are on limited time. I would otherwise dig into like your comedic past, how you
Sure.
got into a comedy. Of the things that you've done as a comic, what is there something that you're the most proud of?
I mean, as a comedian, it's the friendships. I mean, I could sit here and rat off things that I've done. But I'm very proud of the group of people that I consider my best friends in comedy. They're all, you know, not just incredibly funny and incredibly talented, but they're just good people. Yeah. Very, very good people. And I'm so lucky just to have them, you know, the people like Big J and Dan Soder and Avery and Jeremiah and Sal and, you know, and Burr and Ryan Sickler and Jay Larson, like the guys and Burr. I mean, how could I forget him? It's just, he's done so much for me. They're good guys that worked their ass off to get to a place, and they taught me it's the work. It's love the work, because all the reward means nothing if you don't love the work. Every day is Christmas if you love what you do. So
yeah, I think that's why I have found the goddamn Comedy Jam like so. Not only is it just such a fun experience to watch live performance of comedy combined with music, but like you could tell those friendships exist. You know, there's the dynamic between you and the band, you and the performer that you're bringing on. And
I love that. I love everybody does this show.
Yeah.
You know, there's you know, a lot of the times, like the people that the comics that will come on, I know them through name. You know, they know me through name, and we know each other because it's just every comic is an acquaintance. And then they do the show, and I think it's because I provide them with an outlet and a very beautiful experience that it's memorable to them, and immediately it's like we went through something together.
Yeah.
I hate to use like, there's always these people that use like war terminology. It's like we're in the trenches, man. We're on the grind. It's not a grind. It's a beautiful experience. So, by giving them the opportunity to grow, we seem to just build a bond. Mm-hmm. So the Jam is a very beautiful show. Obviously, you know, you've been here, you've seen it. It's people leave with a smile on their face. It's entertainment Prozac. Yeah. It really just makes you feel good.
Right. Yeah.
And you know, it's just a show that I'm so grateful for, that I knew LMNOP, I knew Nick and Joel, and it just, the whole story behind it is just how it started. It just out of my frustration with stand-up, because I had done New Faces, just for laughs, and had to still, everybody went off to do bigger things, and I still had to work a day job, and I was just like, I'm not having fun, and so I said, what would be fun? And then I thought, let me try this, get the band back together, and try this show idea, and then got Burr on board immediately, and now here we are. Yeah. 5 years. I mean, it'll be 5 years in July.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Amazing. And you've done all of the festivals.
We've done pretty much everyone. We've done JFL. We did JFL 3 years in a row. I took a break last year to do stand-up. We've done Moontower. This is our 4th year. Lots of music festivals, lots of comedy festivals. Still doing it in LA. Not very often, though. The 500 and other things have taken up a lot of time. I always it's one of those things that I want to, I don't want to put it to bed, but, you're trying to break that. Right now, I'm trying to show everybody how good I am at being a stand-up comedian, because the Jam came out of, when I was doing the Jam, I wasn't doing stand-up. I was, but I wasn't writing. I wasn't working on it. I was just, I was like, this is what I do now. Now I'm this music comedy guy, and that's not what I wanted to be. So now I'm doing everything in my power to not prove, but just, maybe it's proved to myself, but I'm just writing nonstop, and now I'm getting a lot more success as just an individual instead of this conglomerate show.
Yeah. One of the things that you mentioned fairly frequently on the 500 is your past history as a strip club DJ, and now you are DJ
Howlin' Hank on F is for Family. Yeah, that's all Peter Billingsley and Burr. They're buddies, and when Bill met me, he was like, he's like, I love your voice. I got this animated show. I think there's a character that I might have for you, and then on season 2, he called me, and he's like, so I'm sending you the sides. He's like, and he literally just told me how to not fuck it up. He was like, just, this is what I want.
Wow.
And I taped it at my agent's office the next morning, and then I remember Avery were flying to Washington, D.C., and we're waiting in this long TSA line, and Bill texted me, he's like, you got it. And I'm so grateful. That dude, man, is he just the best. I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for Bill Burr. And I'm really lucky to call him one of my best friends. Like, some of my favorite things is hanging out with that dude. Yeah. He's just great.
And you just recorded a special, is that right?
I did. Bill Burr has a new TV show on Comedy Central. It's kind of like a premium blend. Okay. So it's called Bill Burr Presents, and he picked about 18 comics that he loved, and I was one of them, and we all did, 5-6 minutes, and it was a very showcasey show. It was great. It was just, I went last out of the 2 tapings, and right before Bill went up, and it was just magical. It was magical.
Cool. Well, we're going to start winding down. What's on the horizon?
Well, right now everything is the 500. It's it. I got a long journey with that, but I just started working with Spotify, and we're gonna make the show. It's gonna reach people that very, very quickly, and I want to build that as big as I can, because it's just a labor of love. It's something that, I just love it so much. I love hearing people thank me for getting them to listen to a record. It's not work. It takes up time, but it's something that when I sit down to break down a record, unless it's a day that I just want to lay on my ass and just watch television and lay with my dog, I love it so much. So I have that. That's honestly, God, right now, that's literally it. There's other stuff. Stand-up is going great. I'm going on the road, and we have a few more festivals this year. We have the Jam, our 5-year anniversary of the Jam coming up. But it's the 500. I love it.
Yeah. I was just thinking to myself, man, he hasn't mentioned his dog yet.
Lekka? Lekka dog? Yeah, Lekka dog. I miss her so much right now.
Well, just a few more days, right?
2. 1, actually.
Not counting.
No, 1.5. It's the first thing I'll do. She's at my dog trainer's house right now, and I'm gonna pick her up and take her right to the dog park so she can run out. She's gotten a little chubby, so I need to like, I don't know what I need to do. I think she's just filling out, but I've had a couple people say she's getting lumpy.
That's Hollywood for you.
Yeah, I gotta shave off. Like they say, like 3 to 5 pounds, which really won't be that big a deal. If I literally just take her on, because we go to the dog park every morning. She runs for an hour, hour and a half, and then when she goes home, she lays on her ass the rest of the day. And then what I need to do is just take her for one more walk, another like 45-minute walk, which would be good for me. So I'm gonna start doing that every day.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap with my final question. One word to describe your future.
Happy.
Perfect. Don't have to reach for that one. All right. Well, that is a wrap on Comedy Wham Presents Josh Adam Meyers. Tell us where we can find you. Social media. Promote.
At Josh Adam Meyers on all social media. JoshAdamMyers.com, and you can go to the500podcast.com if you want to join the movement. It's so much fun. Be a part of it.
Yeah, join Patreon. It's worth it. The long episodes are worth it.
Thank you, love.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we hope you've enjoyed learning about how Josh got to be the comedic genius, musical genius as well, that you heard today just as much as I have. I'm really thrilled that got him to sit down for this long. Visit ComedyWham.com. Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at ComedyWham, and like our Facebook page. You can listen to past interviews on iTunes or your favorite podcast player and review us while you're at it. This has been Comedy Wham Presents Josh Adam Meyers. I'm Valerie, and that's been funny. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, love.